Charles, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me here.
I've been wondering now for a few years, why did we even change the airport? Why did we even move the airport from where it was? Why not just expand the airport? But no, we built a whole new terminal, and an associated number of problems come with that. And Charles, fill us in.
So on the airport, and oddly enough, a friend, because I'd been a former mayor one day, said, Charles, I was flying into the airport. Am I going to have to go all the way around to rent a car to park when I land to get to the new terminal? So I drove out there and looked, and I go, yeah, you're right, you are. So that made me think about what else is going on with that facility. And what I found out was there were four alternatives. One was to move it to the north side, but the FAA would only fund a new building. So your $650 million of seed money, to get that, you had to move across the runway.
So the FAA wouldn't fund expanding the current footprint?
Or renovating. You had to build a new structure.
Wow.
So that kind of put the deal as, if we want government money to do this, we got to look to building a new facility.
And obviously it wasn't going to happen without government money.
Absolutely. And now it's like 3 times what it was originally budgeted for.
So where are we at right now, funding-wise?
So right now, it started out at $650 million. We're probably over $1.5 billion. I think when we get done, we're going to be closer to $2.5 billion, because we haven't added little things like a $300 million rent-a-car facility, parking for employees, other redoing the taxiways. There's so many things that have not been tacked on. The flyovers, leaving the airport to get to New Orleans, $150 million. Leaving the airport to go to Baton Rouge, another $150 million.
Flyover ramp.
Ramp, yes.
Mm-hmm. So right now, when this thing opens in a few weeks, supposedly,
yes,
right?
a few weeks.
People are going to be going down I-10 to get off on Loyola. Is that the exit?
Get off on Loyola. You'll get 3 red lights before you get to Veterans. So you'll have a light at the stop. You'll have a light at the interstate, a light at Veterans, and then you're going to be on Aberdeen, and it's a 1-lane road into the airport with a wall. They've built the wall through this neighborhood of 5,000.
Yeah, let's show that wall if we can. So that wall divides the Susan Park neighborhood.
It
correct?
does. Mm-hmm. Right now, when I was out there a couple of times, you could see kids who wanted to go play with their friends trying to go around the wall, jump through it, look for holes in it. Yeah. It goes right through the center. Otherwise, you go to Veterans, which is a high traffic area.
So you got the problem with the cost, you got the problem with this neighborhood being divided, and I guess they bought up all this property, right?
Well, they haven't finished. I was at the hotel, the Red Roof Inn, the other day. I went to ask them if I could take a shot from like a higher floor, and the gentleman told me they had only the day before been told that the hotel's coming down. They bought it 2 years ago to renovate it. They just installed a new cell phone tower with T-Mobile equipment at the top on the roof. Wow. All that's coming down. There's been no notice to the neighborhood or anybody of what this was going to be.
Now, let's talk about another issue that you've been following, because you've made this really big issue that I don't think anybody's following it. The extra CO2 that is going to be created by this airport. Talk about that.
So, a lot of people, when I say that, they'll say that's a minor issue. But we had recently the youth strike, where a 15-year-old girl spoke at the UN and said, you guys are building, the adults are building luxury, which is like world class, which we call this airport, at the expense of the biosphere. So recently, on March 15th, there was a worldwide strike at high schools. The kids didn't go to class to talk about CO2. So here's Mitch talking about how he's leading the CO2 campaign, and the Democrats are all for it with their new Green Deal. And yet, we're building an airport that adds 50,000 metric tons of CO2 because we're moving it further from New Orleans. So it's 27 million miles of vehicle and the gasoline that goes with that, plus the airplanes. It's going to take an extra 7 minutes per flight to taxi in and out of the airport. It's 50,000 metric tons. So I suggested to the City Council of New Orleans that they live up to the Paris Agreement, which they said they wanted to do,
right,
and plant trees, which would also help with coastal restoration.
Right.
We haven't got anywhere with that yet.
So in our final minute here, what is going to happen to the old airport?
Eventually, I think it's going to come down. There's talk about maybe
all those structures,
and they redid a lot of it will come down. Probably in the end.
Over the years, they've been updating it and so forth.
They will. I do want to add one note that the airport is having sinkage problems. We heard about the sewage line and sewage and water board, but the slabs right now at the taxiway are also having some sinking problems because you're further from the river. I sent some photos of that, and people have reached out to me via Facebook page I created to let the community interact with this airport situation.
Wow. You're really doing a great job informing people. Not many other people are.
I've been surprised that the media hasn't been wanting to cover this more. But It's
Right.
what it is.
I agree. The media has been absent on this issue because I think we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about how it's going to affect so many people. And right now it's been a big boondoggle.
We go on, Jeff. If we had time, I could talk about another 20 minutes about some of these other issues.
Right.
There's a lot of other problems with it.
Right.
One short one, they didn't put any money for art. A government building normally needs 1% for art. They left that out and said that New Orleans cuisine counts as art. Serious.
All right, Charles Marsala, keep up the good work on this.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.